And this song on everybody's nerves. I will attempt not to whine today. I can't promise you I won't whine, but we have had some interesting couple days. So I'm going to talk about that. No, I probably won't talk much about Katie Joy because let her be. She hasn't done anything new besides try to apologize for everything. That's why I said go to Renelle Smith's video. I'm going to put a link to it in the description. If you know me or don't know me, I'm Suzanne Titkemeyer. I used to write for Pathos, column called No Longer Quivering. It's where for nearly 10 years I wrote daily about the quiverful religious movement and about evangelical Christianity, about those squishy, awful, weird things. Please don't bully anybody I talk about here. Don't even bully each other. And these are just my opinions from living here in Costa Rica the last 5 years. Okay, we have had a change of heart. We first got here. Hey, dinner's ready. We brought our old Honda CRV because it was four-wheel drive. It was paid for. It was old. If I got dents and dings on it, who cared? Dents and dings. We drove that thing till it fell apart at almost 300,000 miles. The transmission died. Engine, everything else was good, was golden. So we were able to sell it for $2,000 with no transmission, no working transmission. That was back in May. Here we are now in June, almost July, almost to August. And we finally bought a new car. We bought a new car yesterday here in Costa Rica because after talking to everybody and their brother and going out and looking at cars, here's what we discovered. There are no consumer protection laws in Costa Rica like there are in the rest of the world. Well, the rest of the developed world. Here's the thing about Costa Rica. Costa Rica is a second world country trying to become a first world country that has a whole pile of third world things they still do. Stupid things. Example, zero consumer protection laws. None. So if you buy a used car, guess what? The minute you drive it off a lot or off a Juan's driveway, you are out of luck. That thing is yours. As you can see behind me, I am been super busy day. I'm doing some organization here. I'm cleaning out closets. I'm laughing because I didn't realize I had all these masks. Look at the S-eating grin on this guy. Is that ridiculous or what? These the CPAP masks I use are really teeny tiny ones. You see, he's got a teeny tiny one over his nose. So not only am I preparing for the car, I'm preparing my house for my disability stupid thing. I got to talk about that too when I'm done about the cars. No consumer protection laws. Their vehicle inspection laws are crazy. It's called Retive. You do a vehicle inspection once a year, unless you have a brand new car, then you get to wait 2 years. And I mean brand new, like we're buying. We bought a Nissan Kicks. It's a small car because reality, we drive back and forth to Tamarindo at about 20 miles an hour. We don't need anything that's going to be huge or four-wheel drive or anything like that. I don't even take unpaved roads anymore. I'm just too old. 3 years ago, I got stuck in an unpaved road in the mud, and that was rather humiliating to admit that I got stuck and I got mud head to toe. So I haven't done that in a long time. I only take unpaved roads in dry weather now, in dry season, not so. We bought this little car. It turned out I was praying on the way to the dealership, Lord, please let it be a car that has automatic transmission. And we walked into Nissan after having looked at these and saying, well, we're not sure. Should we get the Qashqai? Should we get the Kicks? They had another one they call March. It's real tiny. There are the Xterra. There's the Rogue. There's all those things. It rains half the year here, dinner's ready. We're here during rainy season. But I learned my lesson. During rainy season, I stick to paved roads. There's a reason why that works. Even with four-wheel drive, I got stuck. So we bought this thing. In the States, you have the game that you play where you have, when I sold cars, it was called the four square. It was a sheet of paper divided up in 4 areas, and We were told to have a set of colored markers, and when you went to draw on it, you would draw the sticker price. You'd put like what you could get the person to commit to buying it at, all kinds of things. And you get them to sign it and bring it to the dealer, the sales manager, and he would tell you to dicker back and forth with them until finally it was a legitimate signed document. Here, there's none of that. Because of the supply chain issues, because of the fact that there are almost no cars, they had one kick on the lot, where when I'd been there 2.5 months ago, they had 7. So they only had one. The supply chain issue had affected Toyota and Hyundai, and they only had one each. We knew this place had more cars. So after looking at everything and trying them all out, we chose the one we did. We're old. We just go into town. Every now and then we'll take a road trip to Santa Cruz, which is about an hour away, or to Liberia. We don't even drive to San Jose any longer. We fly. It's pretty cheap and quick to fly. So there's none of those games because of supply chain issues. The price is the price is the price. The sticker price is the price. We did manage to get them to throw in some extras, and we got the middle range with all the extras that we could get. And I'm happy with it. It was cobalt blue, my absolute favorite color in this world. So I could not have chosen better and gotten better. So there's some important reasons why it's better to buy a new car when your old car dies here. Number one, the number one reason, no consumer protections. I said before, I had a situation where we were looking at a car that our mechanic was vouching, said it was his cousin or something. We looked at the car. The car didn't have many miles on it. It looked in great condition, but it was a little older. It was like 14, 15 years. And I told Jim I didn't want anything that old. But we looked at it because you're never going to just rule everything out of hand. So basically, after we looked at it and we were starting to talk to the guy who's selling it, who was telling us a story about he bought it for his daughter who only drove it back and forth to go to the doctor because she had autism. I don't know. So start looking at the car. It's like, why is this manual in English and why does it say it was sold in Tennessee? If you bought it from some gringo here who imported it and you said they imported it from North Carolina, why is that? Then the story changed. She said, well, what's going on is I bought it in Carolina. Well, which Carolina? Did you buy it North Carolina or South Carolina and import it here? He couldn't answer. So it was a big old falsehood. There rust all under the car. And we had somebody else look at it. It was horrible. East Carolina. Java man, yes, East Carolina. North Carolina, East Carolina, West Carolina. North, South Carolina. I mean, so he couldn't answer that. There were a lot of other like little tiny red flags, so we passed on it. And that is an example of what can happen to you here. I know who bought that car. That person bought that car, and that car is currently sitting up on blocks in her yard. She went behind my back and did it because we talked to the mechanic. We looked at the car. The next day, we were talking at a party among friends, and one of the, quote, friends went to the mechanic and bought the car out from under us. We weren't really concerned anyway, but I consider that kind of sneaky behavior. You ask somebody, hey, are you interested in it? If not, then you buy it. So that's a pretty typical. And the thing is, it had so few miles on it. I know they rolled the odometer back. There's no laws against that here. There is zero consumer protection when you're buying a used car. So unless you know the person, you know them well, or you can get a car off a gringo, don't do it. Don't do it. Go to a dealership, buy a brand new one, make them give you a few extras, and make them give you a long warranty, like a 3 or 5 year service warranty on the thing, which we did, which we got. But that's what car buying is like here. There's none of the dancing or the dickering. So there's that. But at least you're not having to pay above sticker price. Now, since this one was kind of loaded with a whole bunch of stuff, it was way above sticker price. I mean, base price. And got to see something there that just made me laugh. There's ready to have them all over the place. Used car lots are everywhere. Most Kikos can't afford to buy anything but a small compact economy car. That's one reason why we wanted a smaller car. We wanted to have a greater resale value on it when we finally do leave this place, probably 10 years from now. We wanted to be able to sell it easily. And so they have these little lots. Some of them will finance these guys, but there's almost no auto financing here unless your bank does it. And even that is kind of dicey. There's so many things that are third world here, and they're trying to be first world. The Retive is a good example of that. The inspections. 10 years ago, they gave the inspection contract to a company out of Spain who operated Retive for 10 years. 2 months ago, the contract expired with Costa Rica doing nothing about it. So there is not one type of, I've got my husband's old phone here, so I don't know who in the hell is messaging him. So there's nobody running there's not a soul in this world running the inspections. There's no inspections. I've heard differing times when we're going to get inspections again. It could be at least a year from now. I've been told it can be a year from now or greater. I don't know. I think that's unacceptable myself. There were a lot of problems with the inspection system here, a bunch of huge problems. One of the biggest problems was that they were letting Ticos go through for bribes and not giving them for a thing. Americans were bribing them. And then you have my husband and I, we're both just kind of honest, unfortunately. So we didn't bribe anybody, and we kept getting gigged on every stupid thing. So that's how Costa Rica is. They don't anticipate these things. So now they're doing the bidding process. I understand Spain, a company in Panama, a company somewhere in South America, and another company in Europe are all bidding on it. So we're getting this car with no inspection. And in January, there was a huge hack of the Costa Rican government computers here, which screwed up everything, which means that it's going to be 3.5 days between the moment we pay for our car, which was late yesterday, and us picking it up, hopefully on Friday morning. They've said more realistically, it's probably Saturday morning because of these crazy delays, because of the third world nature of this place. Not all of them. Hopefully KJ never comes here. I would never want her to come here. She would hate it. So I have to talk about how some Americans hate living here, or they come and they visit. And here's the thing. That's what I was meaning about the Karen thing. Apologies to anybody named Karen, because it's really not fair that your name got made into the ultimate and demanding white woman. It happened. I get my Diet Coke. That's what's giving me my caffeine buzz. I'm not drinking wine like that troll might do in her lives. So here we have Costa Rica. Beautiful place, trying to be a first world place. Realistically, it's a second world place with some third world things happening. They're struggling to maintain second world status and to get up to first world. We are right now having the biggest tourist boom I have ever seen this time of the year. It's just crazy. And the car rental companies have decided it's high season, so they've jacked the prices up. One thing that I find endlessly amusing, and so did the guy who sold me the car, Stalin. Stalin was his name, if you can believe that, is that culture, how different culture is. Because he's worked with Americans enough now. He understands what culture is here and how it appears to Americans and how different American culture is. That's because the ones who made Karen a pejorative never heard of KJ. You're right, Java Man. So he started telling me some Karen horror stories yesterday, and I started telling him some Karen horror stories. Okay, Dennis Red, you have a great day. I started telling him Karen horror stories from here too, like the time the lady stomped up to the desk at the Witch's Rock and demanded they stop the winds. We get high winds every January. They're called the papagayos. They're the trade winds that blow through. And since we're on the Pacific, of course we're going to get trade winds. So she wanted the hotel employee to stop the trade winds because it was blowing sand into her and her family. It was just ruining their family vacation. Really? And he's talked about similar things to that. We laughed over the fact that there's no actual physical street addresses here. There aren't even street signs for the most part. And it's not uncommon to get on a road and go, I don't know, 100 feet or whatever, and it turned into gravel. And one of my hobbies that I love to do is look at travel sites and read the complaints about Costa Rica because it's always fun. And it's always women, like the woman who wanted to stop the sand. Or the guy who was at the auto mercado, the mail care, and it was looking at the bagel selection, was stomping around because they didn't have raisin bagels, I think it was. But they just started carrying any bagels at all. They had sleeves of frozen blueberry bagels. And that guy was like, meh, 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 meh. And me, I was like, give me those things, dude. And that was dancing around going, I've got some bagels, because I'd been here a year and there was no such thing as bagels that I could find anywhere near here. Now I get my bagels from the Costco Price Mart. But that also ties into life, because with life, you kind of have to play the hand you've been given. You can change a certain amount of, there's certain things that you can change. One of the biggest changes that you can make is mentally, your mental change. I like McGyvering it. I had to McGyver it a lot when I first moved to Germany. And Germany is a great first world country. There were some things I struggled with there. So I learned to McGyver it for other things that were kind of outside their purview. So when I moved to Costa Rica 5 years ago, it's the ultimate in McGyvering it. And what do I mean? Like muling in the crochet yarn to make things, because there aren't many places that sell yarn and the quality is pretty crappy. A big part of McGyvering it is this dude with his happy S-eaten grin. This morning, I managed to reset my VPAP machine via YouTube. I found a YouTuber that told you exactly how to go into the controls and reset the pressure, because this is another problem I've had with Costa Rica, and it has to do with disabilities. Those CPAP machines don't exist here. They don't sell them. The doctors don't have them. My neurologist is familiar with them because he deals with people from the U.S. who bring them with him. He also has dealt with people. He has patients he's given Xolair to, which is a drug for asthma and mast cell and other things. So he's got some more sophistication. This morning I got on the horn with him because I got up after last night and I was having vision problems and I was having some weird tingling. So I've had this before and I blew it off, and I called him up and he said, you're probably on the verge of having another stroke. Is what it sounds like. So he started asking me about my CPAP machine. When I got my CPAP machine 5 years ago, it was a VPAP. Breathe in, breathe out, move on. Absolutely, warrior. That's one of my favorite songs. It has to do with Hurricane Katrina, but it really has to do with everything in life. Breathe in, breathe out, move on. Being a Karen will not benefit you here. Even if you scream at the manager, it's not going to get you anything here. I just need to tell you that. Ticos are nice folks. They will lie to your face to avoid hurting your feelings. So there's that. So you do not go off on them, even though I've seen a ton of tourists do exactly that. So back to my CPAP machine. I've had one since 1998. I know what my pressures are. The last time I went in for a test was almost 5.5 years ago, right before moving here. And I wasn't real impressed with it. I had it at UVA instead of where I usually go. And UVA seems like their sleep lab is always just shoved into whatever corner they can find to stick it in nobody's using. Last time it was underneath the children's wing, and I heard kids all night long. I did not sleep. Maybe an hour. When I got up the next morning, the technician said, oh, you're borderline. You may not even need a CPAP machine. I was like, what? 3 years ago, I was at 19 was the pressure. So how can you tell me I've dropped to an 8? So they supposedly set the machine to be variable pressure depending upon how I was breathing. So clearly that's not working. So I, via YouTube, if you're going to be overseas, is going to be your survival Bible, if nothing else. I was able to find clear instructions of how to go in there. And I turned the machine from a VPAP back to a CPAP. And I upped the pressure to what my old pressure used to be. And I'm hoping this resolves the whole stroking thing, because I really have no desire to die soon, particularly when I'm torturing myself with this effing diet. That's one thing I don't like about the States, and I've encountered it a tiny bit here, is if you're a woman, it takes forever to get health care. It takes forever for them to believe you when you say, I need this, I need that. And the big thing that I discovered here is this stupid guy with the S-eating grin again. If I order these, I'm going to pull one out and show you. Okay, wrong bag. This has got filters in it. Filters galore that I do not need. Okay, the other bag here. Since I'm in the middle of tearing everything in my bedroom apart, so I'm doing my once a month GI in my bedroom, and I'm doing even more because of the, okay, here he is with his S-eating grin again. That thing holds these masks. Every time I ordered 6 months of these and these, all the hoses and everything, it was about $275 out of pocket, and I'm good insurance. Now, of course, they only want you using Respironics Wisp. But here's something I learned recently, and I only learned it because of Costa Rica. You can go on Amazon. You can buy all of your supplies much, much cheaper. I bought my 6 month supplies for around $100, and I spent another $20 to have a foam rubber covering for the hose because my cats like to bite it. So that's another big secret they don't tell you when you move here, is when you need these things, you can get them on Amazon cheap. You can't import them through the mail because they don't let you do that, because that's something they don't want you bring it in, mailing in, but they'll let you bring it in. So what I try to do is when I need all my supplies, I bring them in from the States. But knowing that I was able to reset that machine to a proper pressure that I had for years, and that's why I think I'm having all these strokes, is because at night, it's all happening at night when I'm sleeping. So I'm hoping this works. Okay, everybody wants to talk about the troll again. The troll has been on a rampage. That troll has been editing all the drunken lives and drunken postings it did this weekend, or at least seems drunken. I don't know how drunk they are, but it has just been crazy that they're doing that. I'm just sitting back. I don't have popcorn, but I have Bing cherries, something that's rare here. I got yesterday, I got a big box of Bing cherries. I'm eating my Bing cherries and I'm watching the troll. Renelle Smith has a really good video up about the troll, talking about the troll possibly selling a story to the Sun. Here's what I know. This troll has been trying to sell stories to different kinds of borderline, like tabloid news. She's been trying to do this for some time to raise money. And she's accused me of doing that. I don't do that. I once jokingly told her I did, just for the hell of it, to see if she'd believe it, and she did. So she's been trying to do that like crazy. And she may have sold one to the Sun involving Amy Duggar King and Amy's mother, and their interactions with the family, and especially Amy's store 3130 closing. And they're being sued for the back rent. So she's on that trip today again. And every day, something new about the Duggars. The Duggars are her cash cow. I mean, And I'm not really sure why they put up with it. She has said more horrible things about the Duggars than you could shake a stick at. Why would you do that? That seems to be her jam. So please, Lord, don't let her come here. Don't let her come here and fool with the monkeys or do whatever it is that tourists do when they get here, like we did. We would walk along the strip and look at the sights, buy shit, and just look at the beach. And it's all just crazy with her right now. Molly Golightly is still waging her war against KJ and for the family of Marvon McRae, which I think is a good thing. Obviously, this family needs some help. There's some stuff going on. They need help. I'm lining up my cherries to eat as soon as I get off here. So I dropped one. I'm cleaning my bedroom big time right now. Like I said, gotta store away this happy bastard. So I don't know what's going to happen. Everything in this world seems like it's in flux. Costa Rica is in flux. My life is in flux. I cannot tell you what a stress that was, not having a car here, not having access to a car that actually ran. Not having a car was a real huge stressor for me. On my birthday, I cried and said, you got to do something. I need a car. I need a car. I need a car. So to be able to buy that car I wanted, not he wanted, but the one I wanted and the color I wanted, my husband screams about God's favor. I have God's favor all the time about parking lots and stupid petty things. But a car is a pretty major thing. We've been married 36 years and we have never bought a new car. This is a first for us. We've always bought and used. Jim's father used to always buy brand new. He used to buy Oldsmobiles and he would go up to the plant and buy them brand new. My father always bought brand new, and I understand why, because before Ralph Nader, there was almost no consumer protections over used automobiles in the U.S. Now there are laws that protect. The anti-lemon laws actually will protect you to some extent. They don't exist here. So being here to watch the birth pangs of Costa Rica try to be a second or third world country, it's all very interesting. All very interesting, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the monkeys peeking into my sewing room. I'm enjoying everything. So that's my rant for today. Like I said, buying a car, stressful in the U.S., super stressful here. I'm going to take a picture when I finally get it. I have a picture of my husband in his ratty old clothes standing in front of it. I got to tell one more story before I even think about going. My grandparents, when I was like 13, I think I was around 13. My grandparents lived in Ponchatoula, Louisiana, where most of my family lived. Outside of New Orleans, someone lived in Bayou Manchac, which was due west of Ponchatoula, between Ponchatoula and New Orleans. It was all swamplands and bayous, and they all lived back up in there. When I was 13, I was spending the weekend with my grandparents, and my grandparents were pretty tight with the dollar. I didn't even know if they had any kind of money. Their house, they didn't keep it up. They didn't pay for repairs. It was in sad shape. Yeah, I thought about buying it from my grandfather before he passed on. And I really regret that I never did, because the house originally was built as a guest house for a Southern plantation. So, it really goes back, and they have some crazy things in it. So there I am with my grandparents saying, what are we going to do? We're going to go buy a new car. I said, we're going to the used car lot. What are we going to do here? Well, they brought me with them. My grandfather in his ratty old clothing, my grandmother in her cotton house dress and her white cotton kiss, okay, with her hair in a bun. So we're talking bayou. We're talking Cajuns, as they call me, or Kunas. So we're there in the dealership. They drove to the Cadillac dealership. They were trying all these different cars. They test drove a couple, and I'm sitting here going, what the hell? Here's the funny part, the funny part. The salesman said, how are you going to buy this thing? Once they said, we want this one. My grandmother, bless her soul, she's long since passed on, 1981, whipped out her change purse. She was younger than I when she passed on of a stroke at 61. Whipped out her change purse, and lo and behold, she had enough cash in there and folded bills to buy a brand spanking new Cadillac in 1973. I have to say, I was seriously impressed. I was like, whoa. And the salesman was like, really, whoa, because that's not what you usually see in these places. So I finally got to do that at 62, which I'm older than she was when she passed. She was only 61. She passed of a stroke, same as my father, a stroke. And I'm trying to do my stroke avoidance by rejiggering my machine now. So there it is. I've been ranting about car buying in Costa Rica. I've been ranting about being disabled here and having to deal with that. And the whole thing with that troll and her weekend gallivant rants, you know, she went off the deep end. She's still trying to do what she can to target and tear down Letitia Marvan's mother. I think we just need to support them. They're people. They're not celebrities. Usually talking crap about celebrities. These people aren't that. Leave them alone. Just wish him well and pray that the entire family comes together over this man and he wakes up. That's really what it's all about. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go. It's been 30 minutes. This stuff is not going to put itself away. I got to do it. Some of us on Twitter were talking about that troll because she never has tissues around her. I've never seen her have these. I keep these in every room of the house, every single room of the house, just like a box of Kleenex. These and Kleenex I keep everywhere. And I have copious amounts of hand sanitizer. We're still in a pandemic. And people are acting like it didn't exist. But to have a medically fragile child in that household and not keep everything as clean as possible just kind of blows my mind. My bedroom is my asthma safe zone, so I have to keep it extra immaculate. So that's what I'm working on today. I'm going through closets. I'm going through my happy bastard stuff to make sure I've got enough masks to last me for the next year without going back to the States. And that's kind of the way it is right now. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go. This stuff won't put itself away. I wish it would. Love you guys.